Hey guys, it's Matt Haycox here, and today I'm going to talk to you about what the biggest challenge I've found in business has been and how I've overcome it. Now, it's actually a challenge that I still have to overcome now and again today, and I know it's a challenge that a lot of you guys suffer from, whether you're trying to start a business or whether you're trying to grow a business. And what it is raising funds. Now, whether you're trying to raise funds to start a business or whether you're trying to raise funds to grow a business, it's still, I would say, the most difficult challenge that an entrepreneur ever has to go through. And whether you're trying to raise £10,000 or whether you're trying to raise £10 million, the problems that you suffer are probably still very much the same. Now, the first thing I think is very important for anyone to consider when you are trying to raise an amount of money is obviously, what do you need it for? How are you going to use it? And are you really in need of what you're asking for? Because I tell you, not so much when I see growing businesses, but certainly when I see businesses starting up, people who've written a business plan and are looking to raise funds to execute that business plan. I always find, honestly, I'm telling you, 99 times out of 100, that the amount of money that the people are asking for is well in excess of what they actually need. Now look, I can't give examples of every possible business case and individual scenario here, but for example, I've seen businesses where people are setting up a recruitment consultancy or some kind of brokerage business where ultimately it's them and a couple of staff. And they're asking for £200,000 or trying to raise £400,000. And when you actually look at the business plan and think, why are these people trying to raise so much money? They've got things in there like, expensive offices, paid for 12 months, receptionists, decoration, huge amounts of marketing, just what I would say are really, really unnecessary amounts of money for the stage that business is in. So the first thing it's really important to do is to actually pare down and scale back where you can. Look, if you're starting up in business tomorrow, for example, as a recruitment consultant, do you really need that second, third, fourth member of staff on day one? Do you really need the receptionist? Do you really need the fancy offices? Do you really need any office at all? And what can you do to scale that back, from 4 to 3 to 2 to 1? And that may sound completely unmanageable, but I guarantee you, if you try and be ruthless about it, or if you bring in a third party to try and validate some of your decisions, I've seen so many situations where people have literally gone from thinking they need £100,000 to really being able to do it with 15 or 20 or 25, and all of a sudden that becomes a completely different ask, a completely different raise. Quite often, some of these people may even have enough money themselves to actually do it without needing to go out there and raise the money. So that's point number one. Have you actually really been honest and realistic about what you need? Then when it comes to how do you raise it, again, everybody's go-to is, I need to go and get a bank loan, or I need to get an investor. And they may be the right answer in certain circumstances, but it's not always the right answer, and we all know how difficult it is to get finance from a bank, and I can tell you how difficult it is to get finance from an investor. I mean, I honestly believe, and I've said this at the beginning of this, and I say day in, day out, time and time again in business, raising money, finding investors is the most difficult thing that you can ever do. Now, when you're trying to raise money to start a business, you need to make a decision between debt and equity. I mean, not just when you're starting a business, I guess at any point that you're raising money, but are you going to raise equity by giving away shares, by selling a stake in your business, and ultimately you'll own less than you did before, but potentially a smaller piece of a bigger pie? Or are you going to raise debt, money that you're going to have to pay back at some point with interest on fixed terms? That's a decision that only you can know right now based on your circumstances, but I will always advocate for the fact that you should try and use debt ahead of equity whenever you possibly can. There's an expression that basically talks about how equity is the most expensive money that you will ever raise. Ultimately, what you're doing is you're giving away a piece of your business and a recurring percentage of all the future profits for the rest of the life of that business, not just the future profits, but any gain when you come to sell it. So if you can raise the money by raising debt, that is always going to be a cheaper way to do it. But how do you raise that debt? A minute ago we said that it's everyone's typical go-to to go and raise money from a bank, but we all know how difficult it is to raise money from a bank, particularly in today's climate and in today's circumstances. How I succeeded back in the early days and how I still have to succeed today is by being creative. Borrowing money from a bank is not your only way. If we're talking about mainstream institutions, there's all kinds of different alternative lenders, whether you're looking at asset finance or invoice finance, cash flow finance, securing, depending on what line of business you're in, potentially securing a loan against your revenue stream from your credit card receipts. If you're an online retailer, securing a loan secured against your PayPal receipts, your Amazon receipts. There's many different mainstream, alternative, and then very creative ways that money can be raised. Also, don't just look at it in terms of the business needs to raise money, because I'm sure for many of you guys, probably most of you guys watching or listening to this, you will be a one-man band business, one or a two-man band business, and the line gets very blurred between what is the business and what is you personally. It is often, I would say very often, more easy to borrow money, raise money in your personal name than it is in the name of the business. So can you go out there and raise it from your personal overdraft? Can you use credit cards? Can you get a credit card in the name of the business? Can you get it from friends, family? Again, a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to borrow money from people I know, but ultimately you're always borrowing. If you're raising investment, you're probably always borrowing money from people that you know. And if you're confident you're going to be able to pay that money back, like I say, raising money is such a difficult thing that if you've got an easy route to do it from a family member, from a rich auntie or uncle who wants to who wants to help you out, then I would always say put your pride to one side and go with it. Now, whether you're looking to raise money personally or in your business name, the most important thing you have to get right is your credit score. Now, I'm not going to go into this in great detail here. It's something I've got dozens of videos out there on, but it's absolutely imperative that you've got a good or great credit score to be able to raise money, certainly to be able to raise money cost effectively. So I hope you found that useful. That was me, Matt Haycox, talking about what the biggest challenge I had to overcome in business is and how I did it. And like I say, I first had to overcome it 22 years ago when starting in business, but even today it's something I have to deal with week in, week out. So get creative and good luck.